Hello everyone and welcome back to the Film Appreciation Podcast. I'm your host Nick and as always I'm joined by my co-hosts Isaac and Marlon.
Just co-hosts.
Yeah.
Things have really...
The podcast has plummeted.
I've given up on adjectives, it's too hard.
Well, it is 9:30 on a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Not quite actually, that's incorrect. It's 9:12. So.
I've already had training tonight. I'm basically not really here, so it's too hard for adjectives.
Fair enough. Top 3 intros of all time. Oh my lord.
Well, people have already turned off.
Yeah, people.
No one's even
4 seconds.
World's most they're arguing about what the time actually is.
Basically everyone just tunes the podcast in to hear me go, "Hello everyone," and they turn it
they
off.
go, "Hello." Nice. All right. They're still doing it. Nice.
They're still there. Yeah.
Comment Wednesday night if you're still listening.
Oh god, it's going to be so embarrassing.
Have we ever received a comment?
Yeah, we used to get a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
every now and then we get like some random one, but yeah.
Yeah, some hate comment generally.
Surprised, like, because we now have porn bots on our Instagram.
Do we really?
Yeah,
I
you should have a look.
seen.
We have a high number of likes, and it's because porn bots have gone to our account.
I fuck with that. That's okay with me.
But we haven't had any. We haven't had any on the YouTube yet. So
Well, they're coming. There's a whole swarm of porn bots heading our way.
suddenly it's like 300 comments.
Yeah, may or may not have paid for them.
Oh my god.
Alrighty. Well, today we're starting off with Bring Her Back, the second film in the Talk to Me universe.
Is this set in the same universe? Or
Yeah.
are you just saying that isn't
No,
like...
I checked.
It's in the same universe?
Yeah.
And you checked. What did you check?
I said is Bring Her Back set in the same universe.
Source?
I said it as a sequel. And it said, no, it's in the same universe, though.
Alright, I mean, it doesn't matter. I'll take that. Makes sense.
By Raka Raka or the Filippo brothers.
Danny and
Michael. Yes, Aussies.
Yep.
Well, that's the great joy of this film, I think.
Yeah.
South Australia.
Didn't even know anyone lived there.
No.
Yeah.
Didn't,
Isn't it just a couple wine vineyards or something?
Yeah. Like, people actually live in Adelaide.
not even. It's like the
It's
background in like Roadrunner, you know. It's just it's a big painting.
Yeah.
You like look over the top and there's nothing there. Anyway, you want to describe the movie?
Yeah. So it's about, I suppose, siblings, Andy and Piper,
Yeah.
whose, father dies.
It's a hard movie to describe,
Yeah.
to be fair.
So they're half siblings, step siblings.
Yeah.
And one day their father dies, and the whole thing is, okay, they're going to get separated because Andy's had a troubled past. But Piper, his blind young sister, really relies on him, and they get along quite well. So eventually this woman called Laura, who had just lost her blind daughter, accepts both of them. And what they enter into is sort of...
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I'm sorry. Continue.
they sort
I'm
of...
not even laughing at anything. Bro. What the fuck? This hasn't been... Bro, I'm literally laughing at Piper. It just came into my head and I couldn't stop laughing the whole time.
You're a fucking strange little man.
Dude, it's been a long day, bro. Holy shit.
That's what math does to a motherfucker.
Oh my god. Anyway,
Laura takes these siblings...
Gotta wipe the tears. Hold on, sorry.
Laura takes these siblings in, and
Fucking idiot.
essentially they slowly realize that she's trying to do some weird sort of resurrecting bullshit.
well, do they realize that that's what she's doing? They just sort of realize she's doing some insane...
She realizes they're trying to sacrifice Piper.
Yeah.
Andy realizes that.
Andy realizes.
Yeah. Piper doesn't know anything.
Not until
because he learns
last...
who Ollie is. Does he actually know that that's what she's trying to do? I'm trying to remember.
I think he puts it... He's not a very bright kid,
Yeah, I
is
was going
he?
to say, it's just typical.
I think he realizes that his sister's going to die.
Yeah.
And that it's something to do with her daughter.
Yeah.
And Ollie is
And
connected.
Ollie.
Yeah, he realizes
And he
that.
realizes the guy who, spoilers, eats a knife is probably not normal.
Yep. So Laura is was a counselor for this area and for orphans, and we realized halfway through that this kid that she's been fostering for ages, Ollie, was actually a missing boy called something Bird.
Connor.
Connor Bird, and yes, she'd abducted him, and as part of the sort of he possesses a demon.
It's a very convoluted plot.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
I was thinking that, but they do, I feel like, a reasonable job of putting the pieces together to make it coherent.
Well, I was never confused throughout the
No.
movie, but then sitting here now trying to explain it is not easy. There is a lot of...
I think also because it's not
shit.
like... Well, there's the thing that I thought was weird about the movie is that they also telegraph exactly what's going to happen before the movie even starts. It like plays the clips of like...
Oh, yeah, the ritual.
Which is strange to me. I mean, I think they just did that to get you in the mood, but it seemed like... Because part of the fun that I had with the movie, just apart from all the horror sort of scenes, was actually figuring out how the pieces fit together and where things were going. But like, you kind of already were told where it was going.
Once you finish the movie, you look at those sort of interjections with the DVD player, and you realize exactly that play for play, what she is trying to do and never gets to come to fruition is exactly what you see in that DVD. You know, they kill someone, and then there's the third party that they're controlling with the fucking finger. And
In fairness, I mean, the stuff at the start, I think, was fairly obscured that you couldn't really tell what was happening.
Yeah,
it is
sure.
more of that, like, vibe setting thing. And then, you know, when she's reviewing the footage throughout the film, you sort of understand.
But I guess the reason I find it
Better.
an interesting choice is immediately we were viewing Sarah. That's what I'm saying. That's what you said, right?
Laura.
Laura. I don't know. I thought Sarah. Laura. Anyway, like immediately, we the audience know that there's something up with her.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like that's clearly intentional. They wanted us to have that viewing experience, but I don't know why. Like it seemed to me like it would have worked better if we didn't know that there was something up with her.
Yeah.
Because it would have been harder to put the pieces together. Maybe that was something they realised. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think they kind of get away with it, though, because there is a lot of moving pieces to her plan, quote unquote. And so as the film goes on, you know she's shifty, but you don't know ultimately like how the axe is going to
Sure.
drop. You don't know what she's
Yeah.
going to do because you keep getting all these different bits. Like, you know, Ollie's fucked in the head. You know that she's reviewing this footage of some ritual. She had a blind daughter. You know, there's chalk on the road around the fucking house.
Yeah, you also got to consider that Andy himself is having visions and
Pissing
pissing himself. But, you know,
Yeah.
he's seeing apparitions of his father
Yeah.
and then experiencing him dying in the shower as well the same way. His dad did and all this shit. It's like you've essentially got like an unreliable narrator, a blind child, and a stupid dude.
Well,
And you
first
see
of
all
all,
three perspectives.
did we sort of base question to kind of get things flowing? Did we like it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was, I really enjoyed it.
I wasn't like crazy, this is the shit. I found it better than Talk to Me.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
agree.
it a lot more than Talk to
I
Me.
thought it was, it's a step up.
It's more polished.
Yeah.
I didn't find it scary. It's not like a in-your-face horror. It's just disturbing.
The problem is it's like,
Squeamish would be the word I'd use to describe it.
I'm never scared by any horror movie. Like, I wouldn't say it was scary, you know, in that way.
Yeah.
It's horror, of course, what that means is it's horrifying.
Yeah.
And I definitely think it pulls it off. It's a horrifying film, and there was lots of scenes where I was going, oh my God. And like, they built the tension really well. Like, I was finding myself sort of leaning forward and into it. But like, as soon as it was over, I wasn't thinking, oh, the fucking...
Can't sleep tonight.
The thing that
the bring her back demon's going to fucking come for me.
Yeah, yeah. The thing I enjoyed about it though is like the really horrifying scenes were just so much fun.
Yeah.
Like you're not there like, oh, stop. You're there like,
Which
oh
actually...
my God.
Which actually, before we recorded, I think it was you said that, like, why would Raka Raka be given money to make a movie?
Oh, yeah.
And I actually think it's because of their talent from their YouTube videos with making horror scenes like that.
Okay.
Like, the way they did there's a specific scene where the kid, Ollie, who's fucked up, chews on a knife.
Fucking hell.
And it was definitely the most, like, fucked part of the movie. Everyone was like, oh, what the fuck?
Visceral, bro. You can
Like,
feel
it's
that in your
just
teeth.
chewing on a sharp blade, and his mouth gets all fucked up. And that gore and that intensity, I think, can't really be pulled off by many people. I think you have to be really talented to do that. And the Raka Raka boys are so unhinged that that's why I think they can make effective horror films. But having said that, like, they're still well-written movies.
Yeah.
But what you come for is stuff like that, and that's really what they're the best at.
I think the thing is, like, I feel like the script could have been, like, tightened up. Like, I think there's
Like,
some...
cleaned up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, like, honestly, one redraft and the movie would be so sweet.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I think it's the perfect length. I don't think the length is the issue. Like, it doesn't need more time to explain
Hour
anything.
40,
I think it's just sort of like when it decides to...
Make certain moves.
Yeah.
It's like sand the rough edges.
And even I think the ending is a little like... It's just, I think that's one of those things, like, the way that... The place everyone ends in is a bit sort of iffy. Like, the fact that Ollie just, like, goes outside and then just...
Yeah.
Like, that's strange.
Well,
It's a strange decision to end it like that. Like, why would he do that?
He gets rescued.
Yeah, but why would the demon just go, oh, I'm not going to get to... I'm going to give
Yeah.
my life up. Why would he...
Like, the
there's
demon
no-
actively tries to avoid pain.
There's no
It's just-
motivation given
Yeah.
to us, except that, well, he's not going to get to do the ritual, which... So...
You can find some other cunt, you know?
And then, yeah... I don't know.
What, Piper gets found by randoms is the...
Yeah, she
Yeah,
runs
and
out
she,
of
like,
straight.
looks at the plane, the sky. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, that's like...
Because
'Cause they talk about-
big twist, Andy, main character, who is such a G, and he's, like, drinking creatine and stuff. It was like, that's another reason
Doing
why...
steroids. Such an Aussie mum.
That was such a funny
Yeah.
line. Yeah, that was a great line.
So
but,
relatable. The Raka Raka boys probably have had their mum say
Oh,
that to them.
yeah.
yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, the film is very authentically Australian,
Yeah.
and the dialogue is very much like that, which I really enjoy about Talk to Me and this. And yeah, the way they characterize people, like, I was really invested in Andy because he was such a... Oh, what's going on, cunt?
Let's just pause. Keep going.
Little cut there, guys. Well, hold on. There,
Yeah,
little
good
cut.
job.
As we were saying, Andy is like, he's such an authentic Australian teenager that he's, for me, obviously, who was obviously fairly recently a teenager, such a relatable protagonist. And then he just gets fucking murked out of nowhere.
Yeah, he's like...
How good is that scene, though?
Yeah, that whole scene was so intense.
Because it was so... I was not expecting that at all.
Well, he's just about, done it. He's
Yeah.
convinced
Yeah.
this second counsellor that shit's going down.
I don't even think he did the convincing. It was
Laura.
herself.
Yeah. You're bleeding, darling.
How good is that woman, by the way? She is literally the most Australian woman I've ever seen.
She was the
in my
most
life.
Australian-looking woman I've ever seen.
Everything about her performance was just amazing.
And she gets her and Andy get battered by the car, which I was thrilled because it did undercut my expectations. Because when Laura was standing there, I thought, oh, she's going to have a knife under the jacket and she's going to knife Wendy. Was that her name, Wendy?
Yeah.
Which didn't happen, but they just both get battered by the car. And, like, Andy was, like, sort of like, oh, I'm injured. And I'm like, oh, yeah, he'll, like, get up or she'll, like, leave him. It's like, no, she's drowned his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, fucking...
The one thing I was like, how did she get to the car so quickly?
Wendy.
No.
Oh, Laura. I thought that as
That was
well
one
in
thing
the
I was
cinema.
like, she got there pretty quickly. But then I just was like, fuck it, I'll accept
Whatever.
that. That was insane.
Wendy is like just no head left
Wendy.
when they like
Yeah.
zoom out.
She didn't deserve that, man. That was what's sad.
No.
Unless you blame her for putting them in that situation, but can't really blame her.
Well, she's biased because she's the
doing-
best counselor.
she's
we
doing her
ever
job,
had.
man.
Yeah.
It's another one of those things as well where, like, I kind of wish the movie sort of ended in that moment. Like, I'm fine with them killing them off, but then sort of just more time goes on. Like, the film just keeps going, and she gets Piper and is, like, going to drown Piper, and her, like, deciding not to drown her. I don't know.
Yeah, that was
I
so
didn't-
strange.
I didn't buy it.
No.
I didn't buy it. I was like, she's gone this far, done this much shit,
Yeah.
you know. And also, like, at one point, Ollie attacked her, like, attacked Laura, and then stopped attacking her,
Yeah.
you know, which I was kind of confused
Is that
about.
like a sort of power?
I don't know,
dynamic
but just
thing?
at some point, he just attacks her after, like, eating his own arm.
Yeah, why did he stop eating her? He was attacking her.
Yeah, I didn't get it. And then, because right
I
after
don't
that...
think she does, when does she do that? Like, grab her and, like, rip herself open?
That was right at the end.
Yeah.
That was when she was killing herself.
Yeah.
When she, like, went into...
Then he takes the body.
She went in the freezer, yeah, and, like, did that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a bit messy, especially at the end.
Yeah.
There's just certain decisions made, and, like, in their way, all of them are really fun decisions, and, like, each scene in of itself is good, but it just sort of doesn't really, like, tessellate together, I think. I kind of just think like all of it works. They could have just smoothed that whole ending chunk out, so it's a bit more coherent.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's also a very atmospheric ending with pouring rain,
Yeah, of course.
police,
Yeah,
sirens,
The
all
Aussie
this
cops
stuff, and
too.
it's a
Dogs.
very
the pigs.
The pigs.
stereotypical ending as well. You know, like
I just caught you on dash cam.
Adult crime, adult time.
David Crisafulli.
oh god.
Little bit of Queensland law right there, mate.
Do your best, mate.
One thing. Oh, wait, we're still in the middle of the
Yeah, I
point.
was
Sorry.
just about to say the sirens police ending, kind of like I get it's Australian and you have to end the film some way, but felt very like Home and Away episode ending.
I know what you mean.
Kind of shit.
I think it's kind of rushed and like it's
Yeah.
also positive. It's like
Yeah, well, A, it's positive, but B, it's just like familiar in a tacky kind of low budget
I know what
way.
you're saying.
Yeah.
I think that part of that is like the whole airplane thing. Like, oh, it's all tied back together.
Yeah.
But
it's kind of come on.
But one thing I wanted to mention as well in the cinematography and the score is that I feel they kind of use the same sort of style as the White Lotus in the long setting establishing zoom out shots.
The ones that I say like they're cheating.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
hate
they do
when-
the same
I hate
thing.
when White Lotus does
And
that. You know what he's talking about?
Yeah.
pisses me
It
off.
works. is
Yeah,
the thing.
it works,
It
but it's
works. So
cheating,
you
dude.
can't be like super mad.
I remember
But
when I noticed that in White Lotus the first season, I was like, what? Dude, this is actually not fair.
Yeah, they use it a few times in the outdoor pool scenes and the house shots of the house from the
Yeah.
outside, but on the condition that Ollie's in the frame, so it isn't entirely just setting oriented. You know, there are still characters, but it still feels.
I think the thing that
Vaguely
the
like
reason
a
it's also I
cop-out.
think more okay here is like it's also the setting itself is also supposed to be
Eerie.
yeah. Whereas like in White Lotus, it's just an island.
Like an isolated forest.
They're just like
yeah, I get
filming
it.
nighttime, and because it's nighttime, you're like, ooh,
Or like some waves.
and there's like
Yeah.
wind, and you're like, ooh, and the minute that gets you just naturally like, oh, there's going to be something scary happening,
Yeah.
and to me that's cheating. Whereas when something scary is already happening, like White Lotus gets you to think something scary is happening without the scary stuff happening.
Yeah.
Yeah,
whereas this is like
just compounding,
already yeah.
scary. Yeah.
So I don't know. I wouldn't call it cheating, but I would definitely. It's like a hack, you know. It's just makes it easier to express what you want to express.
Yeah.
The one thing I've seen actually people talking about this movie, not related to that, but just thematically, is people like upset that it's another horror movie about grief, because a lot of them are about grief, and it's like, well, because trauma is
Yeah.
quite related to horror.
I was going to say that actually,
What a surprise!
what I really respect about it, similar to Talk to Me, but I think even more so, is that this film manages to be horrifying, intense, all that, without using, I would say, generic horror tropes. Like there's one jump,
there's
there's
one
only
jump scare.
one jump scare in the movie, and it was really good with the demon in the mirror.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, that's a demon.
Yeah,
And
because
you're like,
suddenly
oh my
it just
God,
cuts,
that is a demon.
It cuts back and it's like full horns and shit. It was like,
Yeah.
whoa, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
Yeah.
And that was the only
When he's
time.
in the bath.
Yeah.
Gross.
That was the only time that they did a jump scare like that, which I really appreciated.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, Laura's daughter drowns, and I suppose mothers deal with grief, generally speaking, in such a unique way because they're the ones that have birthed the daughter, and it's never made clear that there's a father figure at all. Like not once. And so
Also, who is Ollie? Like, what the hell? The redhead kid?
yeah, that's Laura's daughter's cousin.
Oh, they do say that?
Yeah.
I was so
Yeah.
confused. Like, this is just like, is that just her kid's friend?
Yeah,
like,
no,
why
when-
does she
when
care so much about this
Wendy
kid?
goes, yeah, I know, Ollie. That's the Ranger kid. That's
I only caught the Ranger kid and then I stopped
that's
listening.
Kathy's Ranger cousin.
Yeah.
But it's very clearly established that Laura's been out on her own
Yeah.
and just not only
She's got nothing.
not only absorbing her own trauma, but prior to that, absorbing everyone else's trauma as a counselor. I can only assume. And, that sort of field on its own is quite intense, and then it's just sort of like the perfect brewing pot of, you know, shit for this sort of scenario. You know, isolated, dead daughter, traumatic job, something's going to go wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why people are so like upset that there's a lot of horror movies that are about trauma/grief.
It's better than just getting some fuckwit like with a mask walking around cutting people up.
Yeah.
You know, at least they're actually trying to say
Like
something about.
the thing is, like, you can
adds-
do a horror movie that's not about trauma or grief. Like, it can be about evil,
Yeah.
or Talk to Me, I haven't seen, but it's supposedly about addiction.
Yeah.
Like, you can do
The brother.
It doesn't have
Yeah.
to be about that. This is just one very popular tool.
But also in saying that, it allows for empathy to creep in to the
Antagonist.
to the antagonist.
It's a good narrative.
Exactly.
And it's an
It makes
interesting.
it far more
It's interesting
compelling.
thematically too. Like, I don't know.
So I don't have a problem with it at all.
Oh, and as a thing, in terms of
I think people just think it's overdone.
if it actually being well written is like, I hated Laura. I found her so infuriating and just wanted to see her die. And when we were watching it, like, the more her sort of plan she was putting into action and fucking over Andy and Piper, obviously, but like more Andy because he got blamed. You know, the tool of injustice is such a fantastic way to create sympathy for a character. Injustice is one of the most like relatable, you know, things for people to bond with one over. You know, I just thought that was great, and it's such an easy way also for the person committing the injustice to be hated.
Well, I remember you said in the movie, you're like, I don't know if you said you want to rip her intestines out or you just want her intestines ripped out. One of the two.
Yeah, at that point, I was just sort of sitting there so pissed off at Laura, and I was just like thinking to her eyes, like I said, I want to see her entrails.
Well, the thing is, also a lot of the things she does, a lot of the things that she does aren't too far from, you know, plausible. Like, there's nothing.
Well, yeah,
that's
minus the
really,
demon
like,
shit.
reaching. Yeah, minus
What she
the
does to
demon
Andy
shit.
is all more or less.
Yeah, but like girl in the freezer, like it could happen.
Grief. It's like fucking postnatal depression.
Yeah, that is totally insane, but
Yeah.
fair.
Well, no, but I mean, like, you know, have a baby, fucking bin.
Ah, yeah.
You know, if she's got nothing else to cling on to, she's going to cling on to her daughter.
Could you imagine though, as a side note, it's just a random thought that's popped in my head, but say Ollie died, they had to do the autopsy. Imagine like them determining how different injuries he were sustained.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, all of his flesh ripped off his arm. That was done by himself. You can see the teeth marks. And also the missing teeth, that was done by a knife.
Doesn't his skin just like heal like on his stomach?
No.
No, like it's like just a scar.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is
it's
so-
like well, he gets like that.
Because when he comes out,
bloated belly.
yeah.
But
Imagine like seeing that kid in the
parents
ER.
probably didn't want
You
him
see him in
back.
the
They're
ER
like,
and you see his
"Ugh,
teeth
what?"
and you're like, what the fuck?
when he's got that knife in his mouth, I said to you guys on Monday, I found myself just compelled to chew in the cinema as if I was like chewing the knife. It
Dude,
was,
I'm
like,
so
this
glad
weird-
that knife didn't get like all the way down.
But it was just like this, like
It goes through the lip.
uncomfortable. Yeah.
But you know what was most... we said this when we saw it, but the best part of that was the sound effects. The sound of design of it was so well done, and all of the sort of foley of the film, like him biting into the table,
Yeah, the table was just as bad.
things like that. It's like,
I actually had to. That was one of the things I had to put my hand up. I just so hard.
in the flesh and all this. It was just like,
Oh yeah, like the peel of the skin. And,
yeah, they did it. Whoever did sound design, really, really good job. It was really well done.
But the other thing with the Laura treating Andy the way she did and everything she does to set him up, it's not only not far from, you know, plausible, it's also things that, you know, you can't really argue with. Andy is not in the position to argue with a lot of them until the end. It's set up in such a perfect way that he's got
It's another sort of thing about injustices. You know, as a kid, you can't argue with the adults.
Yeah.
You know, you've got no rights.
And he's always been told he's less so
And it
because of
just...
that.
So, everyone, there's been a sudden cut, and that's because we're recording this on a different day. The recording system was completely fucked, and we actually had to bail on the recording, but we didn't want to discard the recorded material because it was of incredibly high quality. So, instead of like desperately trying to fix everything and pick up where we left off, we're just going to be like, that's it for Bring Her Back. It was pretty solid. We're going to do ratings, and then we'll just move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Sounds excellent.
Ratings, go.
8.
7.
7 as well.
Done.
Nice.
My logic being I gave Talk to Me a 7, and I enjoyed Bring Her Back. 4 more?
I feel
I'd
like
say Talk
Bring
to
Her Back could be an 8, but I don't remember Talk to Me. That's the problem.
True. Well, there you go.
So, there you go. Pretty solid, guys. You should check it out, especially because it's Australian. Support Australians.
Yeah. Saka.
So, we'll move swiftly on.
Yes, with that we move to the new Wes Anderson movie, The Phoenician Scheme. Not a departure from his current trend and style. It's just going more and more into the Wes Anderson style, which you either, I think, at this point love or despise,
Yeah.
which I think we'll talk about.
There's no middle ground.
No. Or maybe there is, I don't know. There's always a middle ground. Anyway, the the movie is about a businessman named Sasa Korda, and he is a cunning businessman who... That can't be that funny. I don't know what he's thinking about this time.
What's that curve like of getting better and then worse in the podcasts?
Oh, yeah. It's crazy.
Right.
Because you're fucking so clearly just reading on it. He's a businessman.
Hey,
No idea what you're talking about.
I came up with cunning businessman, hey. That was me. I just didn't know his name. The Sasa Korda part. Is that how you even say his name? I don't remember.
Yeah, Zaza.
Yeah. Anyway, so he's look. I'm gonna eyes closed. Ready for this shit? He's a businessman, and basically he's trying to there's this deal he has in Phoenicia, and he's trying to basically get the funds for it from all the different parties involved, and also his daughter, who I don't know if it's actually his daughter. That's part of the plot. He makes her his sole heir, and then from there they go on the shenanigans of the story, trying to get the deal done.
That was an excellent summary.
Yep.
Yeah. And there's an amazing character, Bjorn,
Yes.
otherwise known as Michael
Pilgrim.
Cera's best role of all time, possibly.
Either that or Scott Pilgrim. That's it.
Also, I find it interesting that his name on Letterboxd is Bjorn, considering, as you find out in the movie, he's actually a double agent.
But they probably can't put that in there because that would be a
Spoilers.
spoiler.
That's a good point.
So,
Yeah.
Anyway, first of all, this isn't the first Wes Anderson movie we've done. We did Asteroid City when it came out,
Yeah.
which just indicates how long we've been doing this bloody podcast.
2 years.
No regrets, but fuck. And we love Wes Anderson. That's got to be well said. I think
do.
it's your favourite director, Bowie. I don't know, Marlon could be
Close.
yours. He'd definitely be up there for me. I'm currently rewatching all of his movies now because I don't remember any of them.
Are you doing it in reverse chronological?
No, I'm just doing it randomly. Basically, I'm opening Disney Plus and going, what do I feel like? Boom. And that's what I do. So last one I did was Royal Tenenbaums.
Arguably the best one.
No.
No? Interesting.
No, that's probably my most controversial take is how low I'll have that. But it's
Really?
not a bad movie. I don't think there's a single Wes Anderson movie I dislike. It's actually a very good movie, but anyway.
You're a hater.
I'm a hater, bro. I'm a contrarian. Anyway, we all love Wes Anderson, and I think it depends because there are some people who, as we said with that middle ground, have grown to really hate his new style because he's become so self-involved, where the style seems to have taken over the substance, and a lot of his stories, when you go back and you look at Royal Tenenbaums or Life Aquatic, they used to really be about the characters and the emotional undertone. And it actually really did try to make you feel something at the end. Like Life Aquatic has a very sad ending. Royal Tenenbaums has a sad ending in its way. And then basically he sort of moved to I'd say probably Grand Budapest onwards is, even though Grand Budapest in its way actually has a kind of a moving ending as well. But that's when his style really became the focus of what he was trying to do, in my opinion. That was his top priority, was making a really interesting world. He tends to do layer upon layer of story, this guy's reading a book to this, and then you're seeing that, and then you're seeing that. You saw that in Asteroid City, which was
It was a play.
A play and a book and a film.
Super intricate.
Something like that. Phoenician Scheme isn't like that. It is just a story. but it is a very intricate
Yes.
thing, and there's a lot to digest, and which in my way I really appreciate it, because you can go back to some of these newer films a lot of times and discover new things. Like, I recently did French Dispatch, and I felt like you can really take a lot every time you watch that, something out of it. Anyway, I'll stop talking. You guys can say something.
Yeah, that was one of the things that, like, the phrase people use is like the new movies don't have the same heart that the older ones had. And I don't see the problem with that. I feel like he's made those movies, and now he's interested in making different types of movies. And I think just a lot of people who watch movies, the most general watchers of movies, are just sort of like, they just think that it has to be this awesome plot and the movies are about the plot. They don't realize that, a movie isn't just there to entertain you, like, purely, which I still think Wes Anderson's movies are. It's still entertaining. But I think, like, he's making things that are supposed to be self-reflective on his own work, his own legacy. And because to him, obviously, the art is important. It's not just like a Michael Bay. Well, I'm sure his art's important to him, but you get the point. Like, it's not...
This is a pretentious phrase to use, but I actually think it's apt, which is that Wes Anderson makes art.
Yeah.
He's an artist.
Yeah.
And his works in a way are like painting.
Well, and I think, to me, that it works when he does it. I just think that, like, the problem I see with why people would still, even accepting that, might find issue with Wes Anderson is they will either say, like, well, it's not saying anything interesting, or it's not funny. Because a big part of these Wes Anderson movies, which I think grounds them, is that they're hilarious. And if you don't find the comedy funny, then you're going to hate it.
It is an oddball type of...
Yeah, and I don't think it's not a laugh out loud. No. Sometimes there are some bits where you go, like the first opening scene when a guy just explodes, you're like dying of laughter.
Yeah.
But most of the jokes are just clever. You just go, huh. And to me, that's enjoyable, but some people hate that.
Well, the biggest criticism I've seen aside from the style of a substance, is the fact that it's a unfunny comedy.
Yeah.
Which I completely disagree with.
I had a great time.
And it's
But
still...
I wouldn't even call Phoenician Scheme a comedy. Like, it's more of a crime caper, really.
That's just what people...
But it's got the Wes Anderson
humor. It's a
humor.
divergence from the drama to the comedy being more overt.
Yeah.
But I think...
Yeah, like the basketball thing. Like, that was clearly supposed to be funny. And it was funny.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious.
But it's like stupid funny.
But it's also, again, it's not... I mean, some people probably have this experience where they're dying out laughing. But to me, that was just a...
Yep.
Which I love that kind of humor. Some people don't enjoy it, but, like, to me, that's fine.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a problem at all, because at the same time, with this movie, it still has, I think, in its own right, a heart. Because just the more, I would not even say complex, just the more unique his characters become, the more compelling the heart has to be to even exist.
That was something I saw, though, is that people were saying that the characters are all the same. You can't tell them apart. And I'm like, what are you talking about? The only reason that people have that is because they all speak the same sort of clever Wes Anderson dialogue.
They deliver it in basically the same way.
Yeah, but they're all distinct, so distinct stylistically how they are, but also their intentions are all clearly different.
Yeah.
Like, you can get the sense of the characters because of their different intentions.
I think, I just was going to say, I think you can easily make the argument, not that I agree or even think it's a good argument, but one who might have that opinion of all the characters are the same is I find in... I really like Phoenician Scheme a lot, and I don't know yet where I would rank it in all of them, but like in the Grand Budapest, which I rewatched recently, all of the side characters are also very distinct and very memorable.
Yeah.
And I would say, like, with Phoenician Scheme, the three main characters are super distinct and are some of the best Wes Anderson characters, I think, that he's done.
Yeah.
But a lot of the side characters, where you've got a lot of the classic, like, reoccurring performances that are in all the Wes Anderson movies, in this one, were fairly...
brief, almost inconsequential in the actual plot side of things. Not so, I think, thematically, referring to Willem Dafoe and Bill Murray. But the biggest problem I have with the characters in this instance is Bryan Cranston and Tom Hanks.
They don't get to do enough, man.
Yeah, I think...
I would like them to be in there more.
I think they are such brilliant actors for Wes Anderson's style to be used as and in this point, I suppose I agree it was funny, but kind of a throwaway comedy scene of let's play basketball to decide this. I get that's quirky in this, but they threw a couple hoops, left, and then came back at the very end to be present for the culmination of the deal with Benedict Cumberbatch's character, Mr. Nubar, Uncle Nubar. Yeah. And even Scarlett Johansson, you know, she
does nothing.
She has more development than those two.
She could have been cut out of the movie.
It's still nothing.
Actually, that's something I agree with, because that was part of the movie I didn't really find that funny, and it did nothing.
It was
else.
kind of just like
a very brief part.
Yeah, that to me is something you could just cut out. Like, that feels like it was in there so that Scarlett Johansson could be in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, yeah.
Which, I mean,
but Mia
understandable.
Mia Threppleton was excellent. That's the first thing I think I've ever seen her, and that's Sister Liesel.
Yeah.
So
Kate Winslet's daughter.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Her, I believe it's second uncle or some bullshit shops at my work. And bless you, has liked to let me know that his second or third cousin is a
classic
now
move.
A famous
That
actress.
is a classic move.
Get her to come in.
All-time move. Get her on the
sign
podcast.
some bottles of whiskey.
Yes, please, Mia. Sister Liesel. It's holy wine.
Yes, please.
No, yeah, she is good.
I thought that there's a lot of different parts to it, but I thought the opening was one of the best Wes Anderson openings.
I've got that exact note.
I thought it really set the tone and set up the Zaza Corda character so well. And I thought Benicio was awesome because I think he was only also in The French Dispatch. Mm-hmm. And he was really good in that. That's probably the best story in that.
He plays the unhinged artist. Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
And in this, he really got like a lot to chew on. And sorry. Fuck.
Do you want water?
Oh, shit.
That's all good. We'll just cut anyway. This is going to be so many cuts in this. It's going to be so good. Do you want water?
Fucking hell. I have water, man.
Yeah. I don't know what's wrong.
And is that from the laughing, I assume?
Just got locked in.
I'm not sick. It's just a dry throat.
That would have been the Sekis.
Door locking.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out.
We're studying.
You can just open it anyway.
Yeah. Dry throat from boxing. I didn't drink at boxing. Sorry, Marlon.
Is there any left? Excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No.
Yeah, just...
Or mine.
Alrighty.
Very sorry about that. Jesus Christ. I could fucking feel the scratch in my throat. God, it's
It's
unbearable.
unpleasant. I hate sore throats.
Well, I'm not sick. It was just a dry...
yeah.
Sick.
Okay, shall we jump?
Oh, I didn't even stop recording. I couldn't be bothered.
Okay, well, I mean, like...
Oh, right, yeah.
Like a clap.
Sorry, guys. Another cut. We're back. Sorry.
All right, so we were talking about Benicio del Toro's character having a lot to chew on in this film and a lot more sort of presence.
Yep.
And you were talking about the opening scenes, i.e. in the plane, and I find even before that, the title card scene is almost one of my favourite pieces of just Wes in general.
In the bathtub.
The bird's eye view, of the bathtub.
And like watching all the nurses
and all the
seeing what they're
servants.
doing.
And I thought it was, and just the colours.
Yeah.
Which is a very Jadrian thing to say. I thought it just felt like looking at a singular...
on the podcast.
It felt like looking at a singular tile or a Turkish rug, but one that was moving. And I was in
It's
awe.
probably by design because where's it set? Like
Phoenicia is in like the Middle East. Yeah.
It's
like a Persian rug kind of vibe. But I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And that tells you a lot about his character already. It's this sort of, not everything on a plate, but got to a point where everything's on a plate and now he's risking losing it and can't trust the people that he's trying to share his plate with.
And what's the goal of the Phoenician Scheme again? Like, what's he trying to do? He's just trying to build a bunch of shit. What's his...
So that humanity has shit forever, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's what... But I couldn't remember if he shifted to that or if that was
I'm
always
pretty sure that
his
was
goal.
always the thing. He'd never had... It was like his ultimate goal forever was to build this shit that would last forever, but never had enough capital. And the whole plot is driven forward by the fact that he alters the contract so that...
I altered the terms of the deal.
Yeah, because he couldn't make up his part, I think, originally. His original part in the contract. And it's the gap.
Yeah,
There was
that was the gap.
Yeah, undetermined amount. and it keeps getting bigger, and there's this infographic that keeps popping up of the shifting and the changing gap. And I think it's all quite amusing and engaging in that sense. And the thing in comparison to Asteroid City is I loved Asteroid City. I had a great time. It felt stuck. It felt stuck to me in one location. Even though you jump between a set and then another set or the novel and then back into the real life, it still felt relatively stuck. Whereas this is a linear progression film, which I think gives quirky characters more room to breathe.
It's something like, in terms of the film having received criticism that I've not really understood, which is like they're complaining about the new Wes Anderson style, like lack of substance. And Asteroid City, which was a play, and The French Dispatch was an anthology, both of those I can understand people complaining because it's not just a normal story, but this is just a story. Which I think is what I said to you when we finished. I said I don't understand why people were hating on that, because that was actually just a normal Wes Anderson story, like beginning to end.
I think it's just because it's so unconventional, People can't handle the fact that he spends so much time doing stuff which isn't just plot. I think it just pisses him off.
Well, it would be up there for one of his most, like, art house movies, I think.
I don't know.
Especially all that, like, sort of God.
I think that's probably the other problem is. I think a lot of people probably like think it's thematically doing nothing, like it's just a bunch of shit, and it doesn't make some coherent whole. Which, I mean, I don't know. I haven't actually thought about
The God stuff.
Well, I mean, obviously it's just like the fact that he's been a bad businessman. He's kind of repenting for it, and he's going through that, and it's supposed to be a very like clear visual and just story tell that he's changing as a character. And I just thought it was, it's a fun way to do it. You don't have to like keep it subtle. I don't know. But then again, that's kind of not that interesting a thematic point. So maybe that's why people think it's still style over substance. But I don't know.
I was meaning to watch because they just released on YouTube an hour of Wes Anderson talking about every film he's made like very recently, and I was meaning to watch the Phoenician Scheme one before today. But I didn't get around to it. But I did read a quote that Wes said that this is one of, if not his most personal film. In the sense that how the themes, and I can't remember what he mentioned, but relate to himself.
That's interesting.
He probably sees himself as Zaza in a way, is my guess.
Perhaps, but I mean, one of the other big things is infidelity, which you said we'd touch on as well, or the question of infidelity.
Oh, right, yeah.
With Liesl's character and the fact that it's pretty much, insinuated that it's actually Uncle Nubar's daughter with the eyes and so on, and that I suppose also ties into the religious themes, but not from Zaza's perspective. Then,
how do you mean?
Well, infidelity is it's a cardinal sin.
Yeah, but I feel like the thing that is supposed to be sort of interesting there, I guess, is the fact that he still accepts her as his daughter, even knowing that information.
Well, he accepts her more so than the rest of his children.
Yeah.
Actually, isn't that funny? I adopt children just in case one turns out to be Einstein.
Well, the thing about that was also...
Good strat.
I guess that also sets up the fact that he would be willing to accept her as his child, even though...
if he accepts ones that aren't.
Yeah.
Or actively seeks ones that aren't his.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I haven't actually really thought about the themes, which maybe that's evidence that they're not doing that much, but I don't think that's true.
But to be honest, like, there's not really any Wes Anderson movie where I've actively thought about the themes.
But I feel like the older ones, like, the family... I guess they're all... Pretty much a lot of them are about family.
Fantastic.
Are they all about family? I can't remember Life Aquatic. That's probably not about family.
Isle of Dogs
is about family because it's about father and son.
Oh, there you go. I forgot that. I haven't seen that in
Isle
ages.
of Dogs is more so about friendship.
Yeah. But...
and like...
French Dispatch is a tribute to journalism.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isle of Dogs is also about...
Dulging Limited. They're brothers, aren't they?
And why dogs are the best.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's also like the pollution in Japan.
But yeah, okay. So, I mean, what does he say about family? Like, I don't know. I guess I don't know. I can't be bothered to really figure it out. It's like...
Although I think so that when we're trying to do this analysis of themes, and I don't think it's the themes that are what resonates with the audience. It's just the heart. I think you could find and how well that heart is translated. I think you could basically look at every one of his films and analyze the themes, but I don't think the average person would go, yeah, I loved the theme of family in Royal Tenenbaums. They would just
Doesn't
go,
mean it's not there though.
no, I know, but like inherently it's more just about the way the characters are written and how that emotion is conveyed. That's what has created impacts to audiences.
Also,
So, we're back for the 5th time.
audio quality has taken probably a significant dip.
Nosedive. Yeah. If you guys actually watch the video full length,
We are masters of podcasting technology. You know, this is elite.
if you guys actually watch the videos in full length, we would probably get ad revenue, and then we'd be able to fix GarageBand. But no.
Yeah.
Thank you,
dude.
Josh.
We've actually, I don't think, ever said this is how munted we are as a sort of program here. We use GarageBand to record the audio.
The urge for him not to say threesome.
Oh yeah. Anyway, let's get back to Wes Anderson for probably the 6th time now.
Yeah.
This is a movie, and we are talking about it. It's truly
You
splendid.
didn't even hear what I said. I said threesome. Munich?
Munich.
Munich.
I thought you said eunuch.
No, Munich.
I thought you were calling me a eunuch.
No, Munich. Fuck.
So dumb.
Why would I call me Munich? What the fuck?
You're talking about very something French.
You fucking moron.
Oh, bro, come on, man. Go on, man. Oh. Okay.
I'm losing the will with Wes Anderson. I think we need to wrap it up.
Yeah, we're back for Wes Anderson for the millionth time. I mean, I think I've said everything I want to say. There's a lot of stuff to cover because there's so many interesting scenes, but beyond saying that they're funny, they say something about...
Funny, it's well written, it's super well shot. It's probably one of his best shot movies.
Yeah.
Music slaps, performances are great, but in all honesty, we're all mentally collapsing.
Yeah, and I think there are probably a lot of interesting things to say about how this relates to Wes and his career and so on and so forth. But yeah, I mean, this is a cooked podcast.
It's been going over literal days.
Yeah. So I think I would be happy, if we just wrap it up.
Well, kick us off, Isaac.
Look, I'm going to be honest, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10.
Ditto.
Yeah.
We'll call it a threesome.
Oh, pause.
Called Munich.
Indeed. That is crazy. Anyway.
Okay.
Right, we'll move swiftly on. So, my recommendation was a film called When Harry Met Sally. This is I guess it's a rom-com. We need some focus. This is an actual good film. Not that the other ones weren't good. That's a weird comment. Anyway.
It's Nick's pick, so it takes the most important.
Of course.
When Harry Met Sally. It was from 1989.
I'll give you a fact
Correct.
check. Oh, okay.
Boom. Director Rob Reiner, who's a good director. He did like The Princess Bride, which is a really good movie.
I think I've seen it.
And I think he did something else, and I forgot what it was, but it was supposed to be good.
Stand By Me.
Stand By Me, that's it. That's what I was thinking of.
There you go.
Rob Reiner's a good director. It stars Billy Crystal as Harry and Meg Ryan as Sally. And basically it's about these two people who meet kind of by coincidence. They travel to New York City together when they're, guess our age.
Students,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, like 18,
It's a
19,
setup.
or something like that, yeah. And they sort of hit it off on the drive to New York, and basically Harry's like into her, and she's not really into him, and he's like, well, we can't be friends. Like, she wants to be friends, and he says, we can't be friends, because it's impossible for men and women to be friends.
Which is one of the most central points.
That's one of the points
of the film.
Of the film, yeah.
Yeah.
And then basically you go across over a decade worth of time where they keep running into each other, where eventually they decide to actually try to be friends and then become very integral into each other's lives, leading into romance and comedy. Go the rom-com.
Well,
Boom.
might I say what I mean? It's one of the central points of the film. It's one of the central questions of the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The focus is, can men and women be friends? It's not the point that it tries to portray at the end.
Yeah.
Or through the plot.
Yeah.
Just wanted to correct myself there because I saw you wanted to do it. But
Correct you.
yeah.
I did not even have that thought.
Well, anyway.
Because anyway. The thing that I wanted to say is like, the movie immediately subverts expectations with regards to the boy meets girl thing. Because like,
I mean, it's been a thing forever in Hollywood, but like, man meets woman, man, woman immediately fall in love. Awesome. This movie sets that up, and then is like, nah. And then they leave, and they never see each other again, and that's how you take the movie. And of course, then it's through their friendship that things change.
And it's what would you say? I don't know if it's the first one. I'm not going to make that claim because I really don't know. But I definitely would say it's one of the first rom-coms where I would say it actually writes things very realistically. It's a genuine depiction, I would say, of what romance and a relationship with someone like that could be really like.
Well, yeah, what I wanted to say is I feel like the plot is super grounded because, things, I guess, coincidence is central to the plot being moved forward, but they aren't unrealistic coincidences.
No.
Yeah.
They are things like...
meeting at an airport.
The phrase happenstance?
Yeah.
Or like chance, just chance. And these are things that's happened. We've all experienced it, and then...
That's why I picked the movie.
Ditto, true. But, and I think that's what makes When Harry Met Sally so good, is it just feels super grounded.
It feels authentic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is refreshing for today's rom-com.
Yeah.
That you
Slop. I can't wait for the AI slop like rom-coms on Netflix to be a thing.
Disgusting.
There's going to be so many of them. There's already so many of them, but imagine how many more.
Meg Ryan.
Like, I reckon, dude, I reckon what it's going to be, though.
Who is a better lead actress?
When do you reckon there's going to be the period of time where you go onto Netflix and you just click, like, AI generate for, like, a prompt of a movie you want to watch, and then you get to watch whatever?
Well, there's literal laws that prevent that.
No, but, like, I think eventually there's going to be some way of companies getting around that.
When we're on Mars, maybe.
I mean, yeah. But that's what... Dude, I was speaking to someone the other day where they literally, like, they said they didn't care if that was what happened. They just like, I just want to watch entertaining movies. That's all they care about. So a lot of people literally would not care, which is insane to me.
Persons should be sterilized.
Well, exactly. Exactly right.
Let's end their story now.
No, so yeah, it's a fun little adage that I'll say, which is basically like the reason I wanted to watch this film is because it was recommended to me by someone who, like, our relationship basically mirrored the Harry and Sally dynamic, and we were on like a date, and she actually called us Harry and Sally because I was like making the argument. I hadn't seen the film, but was making the argument that Harry made at the start. Mm-hmm. She was like, "No, we're gonna be like Harry met Sally." Anyway, that never happened. But still, that's not.
You still have like 10 years, bro.
True, facts. 7 years later.
And a lot of coincidences.
A lot of chance coincidences could happen.
I guess you got to go to an airport.
Just get on a flight to anywhere.
Get on a flight somewhere. Besides that, what's good about it and why I say it's authentic and that backstory to it is I was really looking forward to it and I really related to the film, which I think is really good. I think Harry and Sally, what's good about them is neither of them are particularly correct or incorrect about what they claim, which is what makes their interaction so interesting because both arguments that they put forward and the way each of them conduct themselves in relation to their dynamic, you could kind of buy it and you can kind of go, yeah, I would act that way in one scene, like how Harry acts, and then I would act like Sally or whatever.
The thing that's actually interesting about that is like, I actually think by the end of the movie, like the central question of the film gets subverted because they obviously do end up getting together, which seems to be like, oh, see, they can't just be friends. But Harry's argument was that they can't become friends because the sex always gets in the way.
Yeah.
But the reason that they get together is not because of the sex, it's because of their friendship. Yeah. And so when you say like, they're both kind of right, it is that they are both kind of right, even in that subversion of the question. So it is actually an interesting point.
Yeah.
Which I think that is basically what the movie is. It's sort of like, yeah, like, sure, often sex does get in the way, but that doesn't necessarily prevent people from being friends, and it's also not the only reason people become like in relationships and so on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But it doesn't follow any of the conventional like rom-com formulas, and
No.
I almost found that like when they did eventually sleep together, it was almost like a bad thing. Like it was a turn for the worse in the plot. You went, oh no.
Well, that's because it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they both freak out afterwards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's I just thought that was so great because that is like a realistic, hyper realistic thing to have happened
Yeah.
in that situation between.
And in that case, then I suppose we can just introduce the two side characters, played by Carrie Fisher and apparently Bruno Kirby. So,
My homie Bruno.
yeah, Sally's best friend and Harry's.
Yeah.
And basically, I think one of the main things that I think ticks Harry's mind into, I think I like this girl, but I'm not wanting to or haven't acted on it, is when they go on the double date. I think that's the switch. Or not even a switch, just the realization. Because the two side characters immediately, hitch it up.
Yeah.
And I think quite funnily, get in the taxi together. There's that very smart little short piece of dialogue. It goes, well, what do we do now? And he goes, well, I'm going to get a taxi too. It's great, me too. And they get in the same taxi and then just scene ends. And I thought that was fucking hilarious. I was like, great.
It's a really it's a really funny movie.
Yeah.
I want to say
The writer, because she's read she says a line from an article he wrote, and he's like, "Hey, I wrote that."
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I will say, and the performances are both great. Billy Crystal's great, and he's sort of an unconventional choice for a lead man rom-com type of thing.
He looks like Bob Ross.
Yeah, but I respect it. It's he's a very charismatic guy, obviously. But I completely forgot. It's gone.
Off into the ether, it's floated away.
When I do that, I just start saying bullshit.
When I started
Until you get back on the train.
I just never get back.
I
just keep
I started to speak slowly because that's what the thoughts floating away. I was reaching.
Bro, have you ever had that in class? I had the teacher. I've had the tutor ask me a question, and I'm trying to read the sentence and figure out what the sentence means. Anyway, what was the other thing I wanted to say? Oh yeah, this is another interesting thing. Is sort of just how the dialogue works. They're not talking about they don't immediately just start talking about things they're going to do. The scene starts. Oh, okay. No, how do I want to say this? The way that they reveal the characters isn't just them doing stuff. They have dialogue about what they are doing, and then it's slowly builds into their actual beliefs. The scene at the start, for example, they're talking about what they want to do and blah blah blah, and then when they sit down, then they start actually you start figuring out who they are through their dialogue, which is it's getting a fucking, what do you call that? Where it's getting siphoned down into more specific character stuff as the scene goes on. I thought that was interesting, and that was obviously the main way. Well, one of the main ways that they really built the characters out is through their dialogue becoming about who they are. And then the other thing that they did is over the years they show how each of the characters deals with the situations they've been in, so their various heartbreaks and so on. And that does two things, of course. It shows you who they are as people and how they operate, and then it also shows you how they operate together. I just think it was a really interesting way of doing it, because obviously they've done it, the friendship over the years. But yeah, anyway, I don't know. I don't know much more to say about how that worked, but that's sort of just the one thing.
The most famous scene in the movie is the scene where she fakes her orgasm.
Yeah.
Which is actually a scene I'd seen before.
I don't know what she's having.
I'd seen a couple of little scenes from the movie before watching it, and that was one.
Believe me, they don't fake it. Really?
Which is, it was such a great moment. Again, I'd say such a, again, cringe word to use, but such a postmodernist almost film in terms of cinema, if you know what I mean. A unafraid to go those places, you know what I'm saying? Very hyper realistic truths about people that would sort of be taboo.
Yeah.
Taboo in a classic. You never see fucking Audrey Hepburn and Cary Grant in a scene where Audrey goes, "I faked my fucking orgasm." But famously that Princess Diana went to the premiere of the film and sat next to Billy and Meg Ryan, and because Billy told a story on Graham Norton's show, and apparently during that scene where the fake orgasm happened, she laughed so uncontrollably hard that he thought she was like having a stroke. She was going.
So what is the insinuation there that
Charles can't.
she's
can't get it done.
that?
Yeah, probably facts.
Get that man off my coin.
She would have
right
related
now.
to that so much.
Yeah.
Get that man off my fucking coin.
Oh, is he? Oh, no, he would be.
Yeah, I picked one up this morning. I paid cash.
I haven't even seen the coin in forever.
because I had enough.
Yeah.
And I looked at it. It was
Well, I see him all the time in the till.
Oh yeah,
What a legend.
people could be giving me fucking Monopoly
Wasn't it the king's birthday or some shit?
in every state but ours.
Yeah, I was going to say, because the AFL was doing something for it.
Yeah, and that's where I think it was Scott Morrison got some award.
Dude, I saw that too. I saw just on like news app that he got it, and it was for his management of COVID or for
handling Australia during COVID.
Where he gave himself 20 jobs.
yeah, like what? Anyway,
And
not,
the holiday.
The fuck?
Oh, that was right before.
No, that was the
bushfires.
fires.
what a crazy transition from rom-com to Scott Morrison,
Australian politics.
who you could not get any further from rom-com.
But the thing is, it's such an obvious progression.
yeah.
You know, royalty to coins to
Dude, Scott Morrison. Imagine if Scott Morrison was Harry in this movie. Could you just picture that? It'd be the completely opposite.
Sally's like Jacinda.
He'd be like, no, we can be friends. We can be friends, and then immediately try to fucking be like a little sly, like behind the.
I'm gonna be sworn in as the finance minister.
He's gonna get sworn in as a fucking boyfriend, dude.
Secretly sworn in.
What's the line when
I'm the tenant of your building.
What's the line when they re-meet in the bookstore? That character
Some guy's staring at you.
in the something section.
Yeah, I can't remember what section
I
it
think
is.
that just everything about this film is
It's just fun, bro.
it's fun. Using the terminology we've used in the Wes Anderson discussion, it has a heart and it has a convincing and a compelling one. And for you said you can relate to it. I think there's aspects that we can all relate to it in.
Yeah. Well, actually, yeah, it's just that I have an actual like story.
Well, someone's even spoken to it. Yeah, but
Yeah.
even if you haven't had a girl tell you, "Oh yeah, we are Harry and Sally."
Yeah.
There are these sort of things that you come across in high school.
Which, by the way, guys, you don't want a girl to tell you that you're Harry and Sally.
Oh, it
was not a good time.
because then you go search up what Harry met Sally.
Yeah,
is.
What do you mean by that?
It was crushing.
What do you mean?
What?
What do you mean? You mean that we're not?
I nervously said yeah. I know what she's doing now. Yeah.
Okay,
I'll
turns
accept
around
it.
and Googles it. No, the last thing I want to say is the clear,
I totally understand what that means.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
No, I'm with you. I'm on board.
the clear impact that this film had on other rom-coms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look at 10 Things I Hate About You.
Like I said, name all the rom-coms.
Well,
No, you are right there.
10
How
Things
was
I
it kind in 10 days? What's that shit that we...
That was hilarious.
Yeah,
I had a great time.
that was a
watching
good movie.
Doesn't mean it's not horrible though.
What did the boys do on their trip to France? We watched How to Lose a Guy in 10
In a
Days.
French cottage.
French cottage. Over hot chocolate. Blankets.
God damn.
We're straight, promise.
But so the film culminates in a New Year's Eve party. Oh, and we haven't even mentioned that throughout the whole film there is interjections of, are they real couples or are they fake couples? I think they are real couples.
Yeah, I'd buy them as real couples.
I think they are real couples being asked how you met,
Oh, I totally forgot that was in the
what
movie.
you like about your partners, which further.
Oh my
grounds
god.
it.
So you reckon they're real couples?
I think
I
they're
reckon
real.
absolutely.
I reckon
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't even think about that. I just totally assumed
Have
that
you
they
seen
would be
interviewer
actors.
that goes, "Tell me the story of how you met," like on
Yeah.
Instagram,
Because
TikTok?
it just gave me, it reminded me of Interstellar. I was just thinking of it like, in Interstellar.
Yeah.
That's-
Fucking Murph.
yeah, that's just how I was watching it like it was one of those scenes. I was like, nice, dude.
But it's this whole thing of showing
When the
that-
dust came.
Light.
The blight.
showing that love
Matthew
isn't.
McConaughey. Space. Don't leave me, bro. No!
Just reacting.
Quoting it to Stella.
This is not a real podcast.
Oh,
Dude, this is worse than like the dudes who just get microphones and start like giving bad opinions. This is genuinely worse.
This is the best podcast ever.
It's so short.
Shit, like I'm losing my mind. This
It also
podcast.
is
The fact that-
clock on a Monday.
I think this gets better because this is like something that we're willing, like this. We're not being forced to put this on the internet. Like,
So true.
like in like 20 years or whatever, people will be looking back when we're like,
It's a historical artifact.
yeah.
100%.
Anyway, the point I wanted to make with the interview interjections throughout the film is that I think
It's not funny, dude. What are you laughing at? Seriously.
Don't leave me, bro. Sorry, fuck.
Seriously, man. Seriously.
I'm focused, go.
the point is that a lot of people that watch rom-coms are either unfamiliar with love, be wanting love, and or lonely, or see young. I feel like that's a general demographic.
Yeah.
D, women. Nah, fuck.
Yeah.
I'll take that one back. I'm sorry.
Cool. But their purpose is to show that love isn't, for people that might not know what love is,
Yeah.
love isn't one for all.
You know what's an interesting, like normal people, be an interesting comparison to when Harry met Sally. I think in its way. I mean, you haven't
I've
seen
seen
it,
it.
but
Or read it. Have you done both?
the show's actually better. I
The
think.
show, I read the book in Europe. The show is better.
Yeah,
That's kind of sick,
which
actually.
is very rare.
Because the show splits characters, the book keeps
Yeah.
them as one. I think the show actually does things better.
The only other one I would say is the Lord of the Rings films are better than the books.
Whether that has something to do for normal people in the fact that I watched the show first, you know?
Yeah, you could have had like a picture of the characters in the
Exactly.
movie or something.
Well, because I read the Harry Potter books. Actually, let's not get into Harry Potter. But the interviews of the show that love isn't...
My word. What the fuck?
He's back.
Let's kick the table. cunt.
Oh, dude. This is so bad.
Love's different for everyone. And then the film culminates in a New Year's Eve party.
Yeah. It's very famous.
Essentially, yes, where Sally... I keep calling Sally Harry in my head.
Okay.
Sally is at the party by herself and she looks to carry...
It's not that funny, man.
He's delusional. He's delirious.
This is,
I am. I think
We
I'm,
need to sedate
I think
him.
I think I'm losing it. Full.
Jeez.
No, go.
Yeah, so Sally turns to Carrie Fisher's character and says, I can't do this, I'm going to leave as Harry. And this is the only thing that feels kind of stereotypical.
Yeah.
But-
him running to her.
Yeah, him running to her. But, in that sense, that it could, based on Rob Reiner, be a homage to classic romance films of the 50s and the like, runs to her, and this is where the inspiration for 10 Things I Hate About You comes, is I love you, I want to be with you, and she goes, fuck off, essentially. I hate you.
Yeah.
And he goes, and then lists the love, and it's not, she does say you're so goddamn beautiful, or something to that extent, but he lists all these other things first that
Like
are
the way she
purely
orders her sandwich.
character traits and these things that are so unique to her
Yeah.
that he couldn't, he call himself a fool, essentially, for delaying it. And then it cuts to an interview of them when they are old.
No, it was only
they
four,
just
it was
then?
only 4 months later. But
Okay.
the whole thing was they were going, we've been married now for 3 months. And Carrie goes, yeah, it only took 3 months. And she said 12 years.
Yeah.
12 years and 3 months.
But it cuts to them in that real life interview-esque
yes.
style,
Yeah.
and then it ends. I think it's just such a well-done film.
So, yeah, I just loved it.
And it was really surprising because I'd had it on my watch list or seen it for ages when I felt like watching rom-coms.
Sure.
And always just passed it off.
Yeah.
because it's old.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because my favourite rom-coms are two from the early 2010s, About Time and What If.
I feel like there's... What was like the generational rom-com run? It was like the 2010s.
It's like two... Yeah,
There's just so many great
late
2010
90s to
rom-coms.
early
Well, late,
2010s.
that sort of mid to late 90s was like chick flick era.
Yes,
Which
and-
is like
Yeah.
more focused on the girl rather than it's a romance between
True.
two.
Yeah.
Then it sort of got to the 2010s and late 2000s.
Yeah.
Where you had the Matthew McConaughey, Kate Hudson, all this sort of shit. Because, my all-time favorite rom-com is 10 Things I Hate About You. I fucking love it. But this would be up there.
I think it's... Yeah.
Do you want to do ratings?
Yeah. I'm...
Okay, wait, one more thing. This is another thing. Is that their relationship...
all of the problems, like all the conflict in the relationship, is not like some external factor, which is like what rom-coms do all the time. Oh, my job isn't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whereas this is literally all internal. It's just between them, and I find that so much more compelling. Because the solution then isn't like, oh, I'm actually back from my job. Well, it's oh my God, I'm an idiot. This is the reason, it's better.
The only time that in real life would ever be the case is, long distance.
I think it happens. It's not that it doesn't happen. It's just from a story perspective, it's so much more
there wasn't some
compelling.
It's like, oh, I'm actually now with this guy. And it's like, or it's like an affair, or you know what I mean? Like some third party.
Casablanca.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Bullshit. But none of that.
The thing is,
not that that's not for good, but I think
different story.
External factors in real life, at least at our age, I think are a lot less of a reason. I think it's a lot more. I think it's a lot easier to relate to internal factors in some sort of love situation than work's calling, gotta go to Canada.
And also, I think in general, it's like people, like especially, it's even worse for us because of social media, but we just hyper-think everything. Mm-hmm. We hyper-analyze everything to such a ridiculous degree that things aren't even natural anymore. But, Harry Met Sally, despite the fact they don't have that social media thing, they're still like on the phone and thinking about what to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're getting in their own heads. Like, they are their own worst enemy. Their person and their beliefs are the only thing that's actually stopping them from getting together really early on in their relationship.
Yeah.
Which is just very well written, very good.
Mm-hmm. All right, now we can do ratings.
9. Thought it was dope.
I'm gonna make it 3 from 3, 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm giving it an 8 as well.
I could easily see it being a 9 though. Mm-hmm. Had a great time.
Great.
And now, for my...
It's been a great time. I just have to say, I have had the best time. This podcast has been...
You've enjoyed yourself, Nick?
True. I mean, what's the thing you get when you laugh? Is it endorphin?
I mean...
You'd have to.
I almost feel high at this point. It's crazy. Like, I've had the best time.
Call it friendship.
Yeah, it's been just truly wonderful, this podcast.
It has been.
I don't envy Bowie's job at all, fixing this monstrosity.
Oh, it's going to be absolutely horrible.
But
we worship the ground you
At least I'll have an excuse for why it's not
out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Anyway, my pick.
August.
My pick. When we first tried to film this the other day, I can't remember even what day it was. I gave Nick like a couple clues for the movie I was going to pick. And he guessed it. And then I was like, okay, bullshit, he can get to another. And then he guessed.
Didn't he get 3?
Pick. No, he didn't get 3.
Oh. He's been doing this forever.
Yeah, but
it all started with what was my one? The Theolopoulos one or whatever the guy's name was. The Greek dude. Eternity in a Day, was that the one? Yeah.
But we still picked it.
No, because he did it
after.
No, he did it like when we were coming back from like the toilet before we recorded or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I decided to change my pick, and so the thing I have now chosen is Paper Moon by Peter Bogdanovich.
Great decision.
Yes.
That is a fucking great
decision. I have seen... I'm the only one
that's... Barry Lyndon in it.
Yes. I'm the only one that has seen another one of his films, as like out of the three of us, to my extent, The Last Picture Show.
Yep.
Which was...
that was an SLC Film Club.
I was about to say it was selected for the precursor
The Last Picture Show.
Yep.
And I was the only one that watched it, and it was... good. It showed signs of the time, kind of thing, but
it's got not Sissy Spacek. It's got what's her name? From Taxi Driver.
Her name is Sybil Shepherd.
Sybil Shepherd.
Yes, Sybil Shepherd.
She is gorgeous.
But
is that where her value comes from, Nicholas?
Shut the fuck up, postmodernist monkey. Phil, the highest order.
I love that your idea here of just postmodernism is just like critiquing something.
Yeah, it's time. Sorry, you have to bleep that. You can't say it down.
He just said it.
Sorry.
No, I just cut that out. I mean, I've said it like a million times on this podcast.
There's just gonna be so many bleeps.
I'm not good with saying it though.
This film is revered.
Right.
It is like universally loved. I think from the very brief blurb I've written.
You wrote it.
I've read. It seems like a really compelling, interesting story.
Yeah, I saw that. I just read it then. It does look cool.
I think, it's going to be interesting. It's something that...
I know nothing about it.
Excellent.
Paper
And it has
Moon.
a really cool poster.
It does have a nice
And it's
poster.
got Barry Lyndon in it. That's all you need to know.
There you go.
That's not the right movie.
The other two films.
That is a good poster.
We are going to do the Superman film,
Yeah, James Gunn's Superman.
and then TBD.
TBD. It could be Fantastic Four. Especially because this fucking
Oh,
episode...
the superhero
This
movies.
episode will come out like probably when Fantastic Four comes out.
Yeah, this is going to be coming out so late.
And then the other.
My excuse is, I had to edit stuff.
And he has exams.
Well, I was going to just pretend I didn't have to use that excuse. But that is my real
I honestly
excuse.
don't need this excuse. This is the most botched recording
Yeah.
of probably anything in the history of recording.
Oh, there's 3 different files for the audio. Oh,
And 2 different video files.
yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Guys,
Thanks for
it's been great. I'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, that's a great outro. Goodbye.